Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons podcast with me, your host, Ken. I'm a retired teacher documenting my hobby journey here on the pod, finding teachable moments to share with all of you along the way. Don't forget to hit me up on social media on Instagram at sportscard_lessons. Hit that follow button. And you can also find me on YouTube by searching Sports Card Lessons. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Welcome, everybody. How is everybody doing? Just back from vacation. I needed a vacation after National. That was a long week, and uh, I came back and I said, "Wow, I could really use this vacation." And now that I came back from vacation, I think I need a vacation from my vacation. If I could give you one piece of advice, if you're traveling, don't fly. Do not fly. I will not get into it, but just an absolute nightmare of canceled flights, trips that are supposed to take 5 6 hours taking 12 and 14 hours because of canceled flights, rerouting to two other destinations, busing between one airport and another airport, losing luggage. It's just a nightmare. Like literally was thinking about taking a trip this fall, and probably going to be driving. I don't know if I could go to another airport right now after all the airports I've been in the last 6 or 7 days, between going out to Winnipeg and flying home from Winnipeg. But I'm back. Now I'm looking for another vacation. Uh, but I'm back. We're back into the cards. I never really got away from the cards. I talked about going out to Winnipeg. There was actually 4 card shops out there, and I'll get into it because I definitely visited all 4, and it was quite a different experience than what we have around here. But here's a fun fact. So while I was out there, it was August 6th on a Saturday, and Tops declared August 6th International Trading Card Day. And that was the day I chose to go around to all the shops, and 2 of the shops were giving out giveaways and making kind of a big deal about this International Trading Card Day, and we'll get into that just a little bit. Well, like I said, off National, just really, I'm not going to say decompressing. Um, if I could do that once a month, I probably could, because I just felt that, that that's where you need to be. That's where you want to be. From someone who sets up at shows, that's the traffic you want to see. You never want to go to a show and be waiting for people to come up to your table. Um, I know early on, my earlier shows, that at the last shows I was doing in New Jersey, when we were just set up, and next thing you know, like, your legs are hurting, your feet are hurting, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you don't know where the day went. Those are the type of shows I like to do. The shows where you're waiting for people to come up, and they're slow moving shows. Just makes for a long day, and sometimes I think, bad decisions too. I always say, if you go to a slow show, you can get a great deal, because people there, they're expecting to make money, and when the shows are that slow, towards the end of the day, they're just selling things. They're making, just try to make some money, put some money in their pocket, and sometimes they're selling cars for what they bought into them for. Um, but a show like National, that just wasn't like that. People talked about cards being over comps all the time, like everybody, oh, all these cards are over comps. But you know again, comps are what you make. And if you're the one that buys the card for under comps, then you're lowering the comp, and if you're the one that buys the card for over comps, then you're creating the comp. And sometimes it's not so bad. I mean, if there's a card you really want, um why wouldn't you be willing to pay the comps? If it's a card that you're going to buy and put into your PC, why wouldn't you? A lot of times, I always, like, when I used to bid on eBay, I'd say, well, this card I really want, and I know it should sell for X amount of money, but I hate when I put that in and then I get beat out by $1 or $2. So what do? Do I go $10 over, $20 over, $50 over to try to, hope so I could get it. And we do that. I do that. I know a lot of other people do that. And that should be the same as going to a show. I mean, if you really want a card, you should be, willing to pay for it. Especially if it's going to your PC. If you're buying a card to flip it, if you're a dealer going to another dealer, I could see you want to buy under comps because you want to take it back to your table and sell it at comps. But if you're buying this show to take home, buying this card, from a show to take home, I mean, you shouldn't be afraid to pay over comps because, like everything else, they just gain value, especially now that the market has recorrected and comps are down on cards. Even if you go over a little over comps, it's like the stock market. I mean, these stocks have dropped. You don't think they're ever coming back? Of course they are. Of course they are. People are buying them, but now when the stock market starts to rebound, people are still going to be buying into whatever the actual price of these stocks are, and it's going to be the same for the cards. So 4 card shops in Winnipeg, 2 and 2, I want to say. The first 2 cards I went to, they were almost identically the same setups. And the second 2 I went to were almost identical setups. So let's get into it. So the first card shop, Lower Level Sports. Mike is the owner. He's been in business a little over 10 years. It's a small shop. It had a whole separate room, probably had over 500 boxes of singles. And basically he puts it out there and says, if you're looking for a card, let me know because I probably have it. One thing I'm going to start right up front is it was quite different than going to your local card shop around here, because around here, I mean, I think the majority is football, right? And there's a lot of other things, but I think football really commands most of the hobby shops. Now up there, it was all hockey. All their cases it was all hockey, very little football. In fact, the first 2 shops I went to, the only football they had were like Don Russ singles. They weren't even, just those regular, Don Russ cards. You get the rated rookie cards, just like that. I mean, that's all they had for singles in football, and everything else was hockey. And even in the boxes, that Mike had there, the football he had said was more vintage football, would have been, like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Nothing really, current on the football. He had a lot of wax. Wax seems to be the thing that everybody loves. He had a lot of wax there. It was all retail wax, though. He didn't have, like any hobby boxes from Panini or anything like that. Everything he had there was all retail wax. It looks like it all came from Walmart or wherever. And he's a cash-only business. Just cash. That's it. You come in, you want something, it's cash only. No social media. And in fact, I'm just gonna hold up his if you're on YouTube, you'll see it. He didn't even have a business card, and I have some notes on here, but I'm just gonna hold this up so you can see it. So it's really just a piece of paper. It's got the name on top, gives their store hours, their phone number, email, and a website. But here's the funny thing. He didn't have a computer in the store. He said, I have my computer at home, and I check it a couple of times a week. So they weren't very big for social media. It says on here, need certain cards, fill out a want list, and I'll attempt to find the card you're looking for. And next to this, there was a little sheet of paper that said if you had a want list, just to fill it in or take it with you and drop it back off, and he would look for it. Really nice guy. It was a small, very small store. And he just seemed happy. He just seemed happy being there. We had great conversation and probably talked for 15 or 20 minutes. And I was just surprised and he said, no, people really don't come in here looking for football. It's just all hockey. It's what we do. Number 2 was Sports Card Connection. And Mike was the owner. He's been in business over 25 years. And again, lots and lots of singles. Mostly all hockey. He had a couple of slabs in there, but they were, and that was another thing, like almost zero graded cards in any of these stores. The first shop had 0 graded cards, and here Mike had some, graded vintage hockey, like going back to the 70s, that type of thing. Not very expensive at all, low end, but yeah, it was all hockey, very little football in there. But he had wax, and that's the what they offer in the football is in the wax. But I think the wax to them is so expensive. And I will tell you, while I was there, we had to go to Walmart. And in fact, it's very funny for a city as, I know there's a million people, the population's a million people. 30 minutes, you can get to anywhere in Winnipeg, and there's 11 Walmarts. It's just unbelievable. 11 Walmarts, and we went to 3 of them while we were there, for different things and picking up different people or visiting different people. And each time we went there, of course, I went to the to where the cards were, and the cards were all in the toy section were the cards, and it was all hockey. There was zero. Did not find one or see one box of football. And I asked a few people, and they said no, they don't carry it. Nobody buys it. It would just sit on the shelf. So there was 0 football in any of those Walmarts there, but it was a lot of hockey, a lot of hockey, like blasters. But their hockey blasters are like, I know it's Canadian versus US, but they're still $65-$69, which ends up being around $50 or like $49 or $52 for a blaster, which I don't know. I just think it is way too much to pay for a hockey blaster. So I did not indulge in that. But lots of wax, cash only, no social media, email address only. And I did not see a computer in the store. I did not ask them about a computer, but each of them I asked, like let's get connected. I'll follow you on. No, we've got nothing. So that was interesting. The third store, Superstars Sports. Al's been the owner for Superstar Sports for 26 years. He just passed the reins over to his son, and this was a nice shop. After going to the first 2 shops that were kind of, when you went to them, you kind of went down. They were like lower levels, and they were very small. Not much light in there. So this one was a like a regular card shop you would go into, just in a little strip mall. Walked in, it was beautiful inside there. It was bright. They had beautiful cases set up, a lot of wax, and customers too. There were customers coming in and out. Social media, they're only on Twitter and eBay. That was it. That's all they had. And I talked for a while with Mike, because I was surprised here, because when I went in here, he had some hobby boxes of football, and he was in the process of telling me, is like, and it's funny because I know people here that have card shops here, and they talk about, through the distributors, you have to buy a lot of crap, in other words, to get what you want. And that's the way the distribution is set up. So if you want the good stuff, you've got to you have to buy a lot of the lower end stuff to get the good stuff. And he was basically saying the same thing. He said, I have to buy these overpriced football hobby boxes, because I looked up and I said, oh, wow, you have football. He's like, I have them because I have to have them. If I want to buy the hockey hobby boxes, I have to buy all these football. That's what they're up there. He said they're overpriced. He says, I hardly move any of them. And as we were talking, somebody came into the store and said they were interested in buying a football hobby box, and was asking him which one. He kind of threw his arms up. He says, I really don't know. He says, nobody really buys these things. We never really open them. He said, the last person I was talking to said, if somebody asks, you should just go, watch the breaks on YouTube, see what kind of cards come out. So I started talking to him, and I was looking at what the options were up there. And I said, if I was going to choose, because they were really not high end, they really weren't that high end. But if I was going to choose, I probably would have chose the certified box. I said, but that's me. I said, I've opened them before, and I know, what you can get out of there is a little bit better than those other ones. Because I've seen on some of them where they're saying you get 5 autographs, 1 on card, but 4 are usually not very good in other boxes. So, that's why I said, I think the certified may be good. And he's like, all right, I'll take that. And then he rang them out, and brace yourself, the price of this box was $1,200. And I was almost feeling bad. I'm like, do you really want to spend $1,200 on? I mean, if I was going to pick a box, I would, but if you told me that was the price, I would I'd hand the box right back. I mean, in US, I know that's 1,200 Canadian, but in US, it's 941.80. $941.80. And after they added all their taxes on there, it was over $1,000. It was like 1,020 something dollars. I mean, I'm sorry. It was there was another the 1,200 at another. It was almost $1,300 with all the taxes on there. Which when I was figuring out that box for me would have been over $1,000 when I calculated it out quick on my phone. I said, that is unbelievable. He says, that's why we really don't sell them. He says, I put them up here and I hope. And, he says, my son talks to somebody in the States and they try to, that really wants these to buy them off them, but we're paying too much to begin with. So it makes no, like if we're going to sell them to him, we're losing money of what they're going to pay. Yikes on that. I wish the customer luck. I said, I was hoping he was going to open it in the store, but, that was not happening. He was taking it with him. And he was the first one that announced that it was they were given the Topps giveaway for the International Trading Card Day, and they had packs of cards. There was soccer and baseball and something else. There were just giveaway packs. So here, take a pack. Okay, thanks for stopping in, type of thing. So yeah, so that was it. It was a nice guy, really nice guy. Looking forward to his retirement. Looking forward to his son taking over. And that was that. So number 4, my last one, was the one I liked the most. Can Central Sports Card and Memorabilia, 2 partners, own the store. Now this store had been in business 25 years, and they just bought the business within the last, I think it was year and a half. He said it was less than 2 years. I think it was about a year and a half ago. They bought the store. They revamped the store. I talked with Trevor. He was one of the owners. He was the only one that I spoke to in all 4 stores, including customers that may have come in, that was at National. He was there with his partner, and when I asked him about National, he jumped right up. He's like, "Oh man!" He came right out from behind the counter, and we started talking. Where'd you stay? What'd you think? How'd you like it? So he was pretty excited. He's a younger guy, definitely. More probably the face of a future hobby, and they were doing it right. They had a lot of people in the store. They had a lot of slabbed hockey, higher end, and to me, I just found the prices to be very expensive, and it's hard to figure out comps, because once you figure out a comp on a card, now you have to do a conversion, and they're so quick to say, oh yeah, you're buying this is 1,000. Oh, that's like 700 for you, but because you never really know until you get the charge on your credit card, right? So, but as I was calculating, I'm like, no, I think it's a little bit more than 700. It's $1. We were getting $1. So for every US dollar I gave them, I would get back $1.30. So I was getting 30 cents on the dollar. But definitely the biggest store by far, the brightest store. He was in a great location, and I said, "Wow, this is a really nice location, nice store." And he said, "Yeah, this store had been outgrown even when we got it, and we had been looking for over a year. We finally found the place. We're in the process of signing a new lease on a place that was 4 times the size." So he had, just great ideas of things he wanted to do. They wanted to open up the store a little more. They sold a lot of wax, none of the high-end hobby boxes, but they sold a lot of single packs. Like they had a whole counter just set up with just packs and regular packs, not boxes, but just packs. They had more baseball and hockey blasters and mega boxes and things like that, and just a ton of hockey stuff, their hockey cards. But he did have a little section of football here and there. It was it's not like you walked in there and you would see like a Patrick Mahomes or a Mac Jones or anything like that. It was like a Russell Wilson rookie slabbed card, that type of thing. So again, there's really not a lot of interest in these stores. And I know online, I mean on Instagram, there are a lot of people from Canada that I talk with, that I make purchases from, football cards. So I know they're getting them from somewhere, and I think a lot of them are in breaks too. They probably win these cards in breaks too, because I would have to think before I would spend 12 or $1,300 on a box of certified. I would buy into like a National Treasure break or something like that. I mean, it has to be the equivalent. Um, but that's just me. He had a good crowd. Giveaways, the Tops giveaways, gave a couple cards out, a couple packs of cards. We talked for a while. He has a website and an email. So here's the most interesting thing of all four shops, not one had Instagram. Not one, no Instagram at all. And you want to say, hey, I have a podcast, I'll shout you out, this and that. And they're like, yeah, a pod what? No, no. It was only the last one, only the last store. Trevor, like, he was up, he knew what breaks were, he knew what the podcasts were, he was, familiar with a lot of the YouTube channels and what's going on. He follows it a lot, but no Instagram. He did not feel a need to be on Instagram. Um, and there was a few younger people in there in the store, and when I said, I can't believe nobody's on Instagram, and he looked over to one of those employees that worked there, and the kid looked like he was maybe 19, 20, 21. He's like, yeah, no, nobody does Instagram. And I'm like, wow, that's just really strange. It's like in this hobby, I just felt like that, you know, is really the way hobby people are communicating, and you're following, and you just see a lot going on. But I guess you get to another country and it becomes a little different. So even though I shared my pickups from National, and I was only home a few days, like literally Sunday to Tuesday before I left, I still always ended up to make a deal. I still had a pickup. I have a pickup to share with you. So Tuesday before my trip, I wanted to run down to. I had some time. I wanted to run down to a card shop, and I got there and did not realize that they'd been closing early that day. Sign on the door, closing early. Sorry, see you tomorrow. Um, And I'd gotten out of the car. I walked up to the door. I'm like, darn. I'm like, all right, well, this will have to wait till I get back. And as I turned to walk, there was another guy behind me. He says, are they closed? And I said, yep. And they said they closed early today. He goes, oh, crap. He goes, I just drove all the way up here. He goes, I was hoping they would be interested in buying a card. And I said, oh, really? I said, what were you selling? What kind of card? And he was a little hesitant at first. And then he's like, he was talking a little bit. He's like, yeah, I won this card in a break. I was hoping. And I go, a nice card? He said, well, it was a National Treasures. And I'm like, oh, really? And he says, yeah, it was a Mac Jones. I'm like, oh, really? Tell me more. So we chatted a bit, and he pulled the card out, and we looked up comps, and we looked what the comp was. And I said, I grabbed some cash before I came down here. I was hoping to buy up something. I said, I don't have comps on it. This is what I could give you for it, and which was a few hundred under comps. And he kind of struggled a little, and he said, yeah, I can do that. And I said, okay. And I checked the condition of the card. It looked nice. So I made the deal. So I ended up picking up, it's a National Treasures, Mac Jones, 3-color patch, 62 of 99 with an auto. And I'm going to hold that up for you there. If you're on YouTube, beautiful car. It's not an over-the-top price National Treasures card, but it's definitely a nice card. And this will probably move very quickly at East Coast National, which will be coming up soon. So I was kind of excited about that. Also, before I left, we talked about, when I was at National and I went to Panini and I had the 2 redemptions and they upgraded my card. And then when I'd gotten home, I had an email saying that they'd already shipped the card, replacement card for the Rashad Bateman. So I told you, stay tuned on that. So when I did get home from Winnipeg and with all my mail, I did have the Rashad Bateman replacement card, but it really wasn't a replacement card. So the funny thing on this card was, Probably, I want to say maybe 2 months ago. It was definitely in the spring. So, maybe like May. I'm going to say May. I'll pull out May. That I went and I looked and I looked what the card was, and I looked online and people were selling this card. The redemption I was waiting for that said never shipped. People were online selling this card, and I realized how ridiculously cheap this card was. So when it came up and it said you can get something, your 120 days had passed, what do you want to do? I said, well, just send me a replacement, because this card was basically worth very little. So when I'd gone out to National, and I was glad that they upgraded me and gave me a great card, that I'm excited about. I'm excited to put that up for sale. But this card showed up in the mail. It's probably something that Panini should have sent to me months and months ago that they already had, because other people have had it, and I don't know how they just missed me. I guess maybe you need to call them up or do something. But I ended up getting this card in the mail. So this is it here. It's the Rashad Bateman rookie premiere. It's the quad patch auto numbered to 75. It's a great looking card. I know there's not much value on it, but it's just very interesting that they upgraded my redemption at National and sent me this card. So I guess it was just one of those things that the timing was everything on that. I wish it was a better card. I wish it was something nicer, but we'll take it and we'll see what we get for it. So lastly, not least, if anyone who went to National and was lucky enough to get the Fanatics Zero Cool Stranger Things 4, the promo pack of cards, you know, when you showed up there on 4 days, you would go get in line, and they would give you these, well, actually for the Zero Cool, they only gave out like 50 a day, but they gave you these, and I'll hold this up. They gave you these tickets. If you're the first whatever in line, they gave you these tickets. And then when they opened it up, you stand there until I think it was 11 or 12 o'clock or whatever. Then they let you go up and go to a vending machine, scan your ticket, and pick what you wanted. There was Clerks 3, there was Dune, and there was Stranger Things 4 with these promo packs. So I was lucky enough to get, well, I got a few of them. So I didn't get them at National, but I've been buying them since I've been home, and this is kind of what they look like, the Stranger Things 4. But if anybody's pick these up while you were at National and you're listening and you want to sell the packs or you want to sell the singles, the packs only come with 2 cards each in them. It's something that I just started kind of low-key collecting, just picking up. And I've noticed that the prices on them are continuing to rise on it. So look, if anybody's got one, they're looking to move it, hit me up on Instagram. I'd be happy to talk to you about purchasing. Next week, I'm going to plan a Monday episode. It'll be episode 25, so I'll be kind of excited about that. And we're going to have a Friday episode. So there'll be 2 episodes next week. I'm going to do a Monday and the Friday. Friday, I'm hoping to have a guest on, and we'll talk about that a little more on Monday. I'll know for sure on Monday if we're doing a guest for Friday. So Monday episode. Shows coming up right now. East Coast National is August 26th, 27th, 28th. It's at Rockland Community College Fieldhouse. It's in Suffern, New York. And that's 500 tables. Sports card and memorabilia show. 500 tables. That's huge. That's huge. These are the shows I want to do. I'm happy to have a table at this. I have a permanent table at this show. Myself and my good friend Rob, sports card therapist. We've got a couple tables there, and looking forward to that one. That's going to be my next show. I know there's a show this weekend in New York City, the Big Apple. Laz has got a Big Apple show. I've been away from home, been away from the family the last couple weekends, and we're all going to do something together. So I will not be doing that show this weekend. We're going to find some time to hang out and go do some fun things. So I will not be there, but I will be taping a Monday episode, and I'll have that for you Monday morning. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. And until next time, be good to yourselves and everyone around you.